Hello, friends. It is Chris Ringler, the Spooky Chris. How are you today? I am, as I said, the aforementioned Spooky Chris. You can find my stuff at spookychris.com. I'm an author, a occasional filmmaker, occasional artist, movie reviewer, podcaster, in general, ne'er-do-well. I wanted to do a quick little chatteroo about the movie Blair Witch Project, which I've done before. I love this movie. But I recently was able to pick up the Region B, which, I don't know if people know their regions. Blu-ray set that just came out. Region B. So for those who may not know, the world is made up in regions for kind of home releases like this. They did it with video games too. And basically it was so, someone in the United States couldn't play a video game from Japan. And it made things very frustrating for people that are trying to import video games. It happened with movies. And, you weren't able to play. Now, it's funny because 4K movies are different in that 4K naturally plays everywhere. Like the discs and the players. They, if you have 4K player, it'll play, an international disc and whatever. So, Region B is the UK and then kind of Europe and stuff. So I picked up they just released a 4K or a new version of Blair Witch Project, and it was so they had gone back to the source video. So when it was made, they made it on video and this and that, and in the ensuing process, the movie was changed. It was kind of upscaled and this and that, and it was made to look in a way that wasn't intended. And it's always looked like that. Well, this company, Second Sight, went back and they talked to the filmmakers, and this is released as the intended version and how it was supposed to look. Now, I would have to sit down and watch both versions and see, the director of photography had said this is a scarier version. This looks much better. It's a much darker version. I'll say that the dark stuff feels darker. But I'm not sure if I could tell you this is infinitely different. I just don't know that I could do that. But I can tell you this. So the set, and it's a beautiful set, came with two different versions of the film. So the theatrical version and then the quote-unquote festival cut. I'd never seen the festival cut, so I watched that, and that is officially my new favorite way to see the movie. It's not much longer. It's a couple minutes. I'd have to look. Maybe it's 5 minutes. It's a handful, but it's literally until the ending. It's literally just dialogue stuff and it's additional stuff, and the ending doesn't change. It's feels more intense because it's much more drawn out. The whole conclusion is drawn out, and it's slower. And the very, very end is a little longer. Like how the end plays out. And I just felt like I liked it better. But I like this version better, and I like it better because it really brings out. It's much more conflict between the three people. Heather, Josh, and Mike, and it's much more conflict, much more like infighting. And I get where if you just hated that part of the movie and we're just like, oh God, I don't need to see more of that, then you will no interest in this. I liked it because it made it feel more authentic and more real, like their outbursts of just like cursing at one another and just the anger. I thought it just felt like the festival cut worked a little better for me. I get why it was cut down for pacing and probably just to really, get to the point and everything. I just felt like generally, especially the ending, just felt much better to me and much scarier. But it's funny because watching it again, I've talked about the movie, I've written about this movie a lot. There's a reason it's one of my favorite movies. definitely one of my favorite horror movies, is because it does the things in found footage. Like, I love found footage because these are campfire tales. You are the one out there. It's like you're the one going through this because it's you're the camera. You are going into the darkness, and whatever happens, it's happening to you, quote unquote. And I love especially Blair Witch because there was so much work done to create a mythology that it feels like there's much more to the story. And if you watch the little mini documentaries they had made about the Blair Witch and stuff, like they worked out who she was, what this mythology is, what the history of it is. And while they don't present it all in the movie, you can tell it's there and that they knew about it. And it lays a foundation to build from. And so when they come across the rock piles and the stick men and all of these things, it feels much more natural and much more real. You never see the witch, and it's funny because watching it again, and they're running and they look over and like, oh my God, what is that? Because the quote unquote kids had been banging on the tent, and when they shot it and had someone with the production in like basically a white outfit, like a white jumpsuit, like head to toe, running like alongside them a little bit away. And they saw it and they didn't know what it was, and it freaked them out, and they were going to have that in the movie, but it just didn't work for them. But the funny thing is that, so if you watch Blair Witch, and I really do like Blair Witch, the sequel that was made, the eventual threequel, whatever you want to call it, but like Adam Wingard made it, because they show a creature in it, and that's one of the reasons I love, like, that's because, is it the Blair Witch? Is it one of the people that she took? Is it something else? Who knows? But you can imagine that's what that was. And you can imagine whatever you want. It could be a clown chasing them. It could be the witch. It could be a lady on a broom. But in my mind, that's what I see as this thing that's part tree, part human, like stalking alongside them. And that just really is a terrifying thought that, like, in whatever it is, it could just cross over and get them, but it doesn't, because she has a different purpose. And so much of this is about their fear. And the fact that they make this imaginary character, this Blair Witch, such a presence without her being in the movie is fantastic. And, there's a reason this movie was emulated and ripped off and everything else. And I can... Nothing has changed. It's like I get the whole like, oh my gosh, like it's so funny because she's breaking down in front of the camera and everything. But it's funny. But in saying that, it is also funny that there's a little bit more of that in this festival cut, and it hit harder because she's one of her the line is like, I never meant for anyone to get hurt. I never meant for this, and that's just such a heartbreaking line because it's a realization of of what they've done, what she's done. People get mad because she's shooting all the time, but Josh says it. It's like this is your, and again, this is nothing new. It's not like I'm breaking news here, but that's her way to separate herself from the reality. Is if she is the filmmaker, she is the camera, she can compartmentalize things and doesn't have to deal with the fact that they are lost and may not come back. But it's, and found footage specifically is a genre that you're either kind of into or you're not. And a lot of it has to do with like shaky cam and stories that I review them because I love the subgenre. But most of them aren't very good. And I admire the people that make them because a lot of them are going to be folks that are just on zero budget, or their friends get together, or low budget, and they're just making a movie. And I'm sure they want to make money and this and that, but like they're making a movie, and I've done this, and this is great fun. But like you can do so much with so little, and that's what's great. Is they didn't need to have crazy special effects in this movie. They didn't need to have monsters. They didn't need to have huge actors. They went in the freaking woods and they shot, and they put these people through heck, and it shows, and the intensity of the movie is there. And that's what a lot of these movies miss, is not that you have to torture your cast, but that they don't go into it with a story or a myth or anything. It's just like, okay, we're going into the woods and there's people are disappearing. Cool. Where are they disappearing? So there's probably like a monster out here. Cool. Okay. And that's about what they go out for. And then it's just like lots of people walking like, oh my gosh, did you hear that? I hope that's not the thing. And then, whoa, oh my gosh, run. It falls into predictability. Or, oh my gosh, is that a ghost? We can't see it because you can't see ghosts. So we just have to make a little sound and we'll just get scared. And they don't try to elevate anything. Like the actors are generally amateurish and aren't able to elevate it to really show terror. And the filmmakers aren't bringing a believable story to it. And you have to have those things. You have to have someone that can make me as the viewer believe that you are in danger if you're just in the woods. And Blair Witch felt desolate and isolating and desperate. And it was fun getting to see a version I'd never seen before, and to really, check it out with new eyes, and with eyes that, like, as I'm watching so many found footage movies, to really see why it holds up for me. And again, it's the banter, it's the background mythology, it's the background, like, well, maybe she's this, maybe she's that, and they know a little history, and it's so many little things that they got right. And I love the sequel, Blair Witch. I like Blair Witch 2, but I like the movie Blair Witch. But it really was, generally kind of running mostly in the treads that the first movie created. But it did that and added some new things, and I really appreciated it. I wish the filmmakers would have gotten their chance to really do something different, or expand it, because I just think it's a fascinating mythology. But it is what it is. But I just want to talk about it real quick, because it's a great set from Second Sight. And again, it's Region B, so you'd have to have an all-region Blu-ray player, which they're out there. But that movie fills me with so much joy, because it's just so tense and so fun. And yeah, like, nobody wants to watch people bicker, but like, it adds to the intensity of it. And I just feel like, in the 20 plus years since its release, I think we forget how potent that movie is, and how potent it remains. Like, people loved it, and then they hated it, and then they kind of, were stuck with all these imitators and stuff, and they got sick of it, and then they kind of got hating it, and then they kind of rediscovered it again, and it remains just a solid, creepy little movie. Friend, I am your Spooky Chris. I hope you are well. You can find all my stuff at spookychris.com. I will talk to you soon.